Welcome back to Faith is the Podcast. This deep dive is all about, helping you unlock your potential and, live a life just really filled with purpose. And of course, a huge thank you to Business Referred for supporting this episode. If you're a local business and you're looking to get the word out, drop them a line at info@businessreferred.com. Now, let's get to it. Today, we're going deep on this whole idea that we all have two versions of ourselves, a weaker version that kind of holds us back, and a stronger version that's capable of some pretty incredible things.
It's a fascinating concept. The source material that we're diving into kind of suggests this weaker self. It isn't about like some inherent flaw, but more like a program running on autopilot. It's made up of those old habits, the limiting beliefs, and those fear-based decisions that we all kind of fall into sometimes.
Yeah, we can all relate to that feeling of being stuck on autopilot. But what struck me in the source materials was how it uses these really vivid examples of what this weaker behavior looks like in our daily lives.
Right. It goes beyond just the theory. The source specifically calls out things like procrastination, constantly making excuses, or that tendency to just settle for a mediocre life instead of pushing for what we truly desire.
Yeah, those examples really hit home. I mean, who hasn't started a project with tons of enthusiasm, only to let it fizzle out, when things get tough, or set ambitious goals in January and completely forgotten about them by February? It's like our comfort zone. Even if it's not that comfortable, it becomes this trap that keeps us from reaching our full potential.
That's a great point. And the source material doesn't sugarcoat it. It actually says that staying in our comfort zone is, in a sense, slowly killing us every time we choose the easy path or avoid a challenge or tell ourselves, I'll do it tomorrow. We're reinforcing that weaker self.
Okay, so that's the problem. This weaker self that's driven by fear, and it keeps us playing small. But the source also offers a solution, right? It talks about this idea of making a decisive break, a conscious choice to step outside of those limiting patterns.
Exactly. It emphasizes that real transformation requires us to confront the truth about our current situation. No sugarcoating, no excuses. It's about making a firm decision to change and then burning bridges to those old habits that are holding us back.
So it's like we're hitting the reset button, but knowing that it's going to take more than just good intentions. The source material seems to suggest that discomfort and struggle are actually part of the growth process.
Absolutely. It's about pushing past those comfort zones, knowing that it's going to get messy and uncomfortable at times. And importantly, the source highlights that this isn't a one-time fix. This transformation is an ongoing journey, a continuous process of becoming the best version of ourselves.
So if this is a journey, where do we even begin? I know our listeners are probably eager to hear about the actionable steps they can take to start chipping away at that weaker self.
Well, the source material offers a variety of strategies. One of the first things it emphasizes is the power of our mindset. It talks about the need to replace negative self-talk with empowering affirmations.
So instead of saying, I can't, we start saying, I am capable. It's about shifting that internal dialogue from doubt to belief.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that our thoughts shape our reality. And it goes beyond just positive thinking. The source also emphasizes physical discipline as a key part of this transformation. It talks about the power of waking up early, getting that body moving, and fueling ourselves with healthy food.
It's interesting how it connects physical discipline with mental strength. I'm sensing a theme here about taking control. Control of our thoughts, our bodies, and even our environment.
You're picking up on a crucial point. The source material really stresses the need to be intentional with our surroundings. It even suggests creating a dedicated success zone in our living spaces to eliminate distractions and prime ourselves for productivity.
And speaking of productivity, the source offers a bunch of practical tips in that area too, right?
Yes, it dives into the importance of building systems, setting triggers for action, and developing strong habits. Things like time blocking, eliminating distractions, and prioritizing high-impact tasks. It's about making productivity a way of life, not just a random act.
So I've got mindset, physical discipline, and productivity. What else does the source material highlight as essential for this journey of personal transformation?
Well, it really dives deep into the power of our relationships. It talks about how crucial it is to surround ourselves with the right people who inspire us, challenge us, and support our growth.
So finding mentors,
Yeah.
building strong networks, and even being willing to let go of relationships that are holding us back.
Exactly. And it emphasizes that this isn't about being exclusive or only associating with winners. It's about recognizing that our relationships can either fuel our growth or drain our energy. And it's up to us to choose wisely.
That makes a lot of sense, and I think it ties back to this overall theme of taking responsibility for our lives.
Yeah,
And making conscious choices that align with our goals.
absolutely. And that's where this idea of faith comes in. Because this journey of transformation isn't always easy. It requires us to believe in our potential, even when we don't see immediate results. It's about trusting the process and taking courageous action, even when we feel afraid.
That's such a powerful message. And it really resonates with the core message of this podcast. But I'm curious, the source material also talks about a sense of urgency, right? It emphasizes taking action now, not tomorrow. Why is it so important?
Well, it boils down to the fact that tomorrow never really comes. It's easy to fall into the trap of procrastination, telling ourselves we'll start next week, next month, next year. But the longer we wait, the stronger that weaker self becomes.
So we're essentially giving that weaker self permission to stay in control, while our dreams and potential are slowly fading away. That's a pretty sobering thought.
It is, and the source material uses a powerful image to illustrate this point. It says that while we're planning, others are performing. While we're preparing, others are producing. And while we're waiting, others are winning.
Wow. That's a stark reminder that the world doesn't wait for us to get ready. It's up to us to seize the moment and make things happen. But how do we overcome that inertia, that tendency to delay? Where do we actually begin?
The source material offers a very simple yet profound answer. It says it all starts with a single action. It can be one push-up, one page read, one call made, one meal prepped, 1 hour of focused work, anything that gets us moving in the right direction.
It's about breaking those overwhelming goals down into manageable steps, right? It reminds me of that saying, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Exactly. And what's interesting is that the source material goes beyond just the initial step. It talks about the importance of building momentum. Once we start taking action, even in small ways, it becomes easier to keep going. It's like we're creating a positive feedback loop.
That makes sense. I know for me, once I get started on something, it's almost like I gain energy and motivation as I go. But what about those times when we get stuck? You know, when those old patterns and excuses start creeping back in?
Well, the source material acknowledges that this is going to happen. It calls out a bunch of common excuses we tend to tell ourselves. I don't have time. I don't have money. I'm not talented enough. I'm waiting for the right moment.
Oh, those are classics. I think we've all been there. It's like a greatest hits album of excuses.
Right. And the source material doesn't let us off the hook. It calls them out for what they are. Stories we tell ourselves to stay safe, to avoid discomfort, to justify staying stuck.
But as you mentioned earlier, that safety is an illusion. While we're playing it safe, life is passing us by. So if those excuses are just stories, if those limitations aren't real, what's truly holding us back?
The source material is pretty clear on this. It's fear. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of judgment, fear of pain. These are the real culprits behind that weaker self.
Okay, so fear is the root of those excuses and limitations.
Hmm.
But how do we overcome it? How do we move forward, even when fear is whispering in our ear?
It starts with awareness. We need to see our fear clearly, without judgment. Once we see it, we can start to dismantle it. The source material talks about this idea of making a decision that's so strong, so unwavering, that our actions become automatic. It's about reaching a breaking point where our disgust with mediocrity outweighs our fear of change.
That's a powerful image. It's not about waiting for motivation to strike, but making a decision and then acting on it, even when it feels uncomfortable. And that decision, according to the source material, often requires us to burn bridges.
Yes, it talks about deleting those time-wasting apps, cutting off toxic relationships, and eliminating those escape routes that allow us to stay stuck in old patterns.
It's about getting rid of the things that enable that weaker self. Because let's be real, that part of us is going to fight back. It's going to create doubts, bring up past failures, and whisper all the reasons why we should just stay where we are.
Exactly. But the source material assures us that the cost of staying the same is far higher than the discomfort of change. It's about choosing growth over comfort, strength over weakness, and ultimately a life of purpose over a life of mediocrity.
And in those moments of choice, when we push through the fear and discomfort, that's when our weaker self truly starts to lose its grip. But it's not just about mental toughness, right? The source material also emphasizes the role of physical discipline in this transformation.
Absolutely. It's about aligning our physical actions with our mental commitment. It talks about the power of waking up early, exercising daily, and eating for fuel rather than just pleasure. It's about using physical discipline to build mental strength and resilience.
Reminds me of that saying, your body can stand almost anything. It's your mind you have to convince.
That's a great way to put it. And the source material even goes a step further, suggesting specific strategies for physical discipline. It talks about pushing ourselves to failure in our workouts, creating that dedicated success zone in our living spaces, and even just cleaning and organizing our environments to eliminate distractions and prime ourselves for success.
It's like we're creating an environment that supports our transformation, both physically and mentally. And I love that it's not about aesthetics. It's about functionality. It's about setting ourselves up for success, a very practical way.
Right. And that also means being intentional with our time. The source material highlights the importance of building systems, setting triggers for action, and developing strong habits. It's about making productivity a way of life, not just something we do sporadically.
So it's back to this theme of taking control of our thoughts, our bodies, our environment, and our time. It's about reclaiming our power from that weaker self that wants to keep us stuck.
You got it. But it's not just about taking control. It's also about empowering ourselves with the right tools and resources. The source material talks about the importance of continuous learning and skill development.
So reading books, taking courses, listening to podcasts like this one, anything that helps us expand our knowledge and abilities.
Exactly. It encourages us to study success, learn from our failures, analyze results, adapt quickly, and constantly seek ways to improve. It's about embracing a growth mindset and viewing challenges as opportunities for learning.
This is all incredibly inspiring, but for many people, the question might be, how do I actually make this happen? Where do I start? Because it can feel overwhelming to think about transforming every area of our lives.
That's a great question, and the source material offers a really helpful analogy. It describes this transformation as a war against weakness, a war we wage within ourselves. And it suggests creating a battle plan with clear targets, detailed plans, and measured progress.
So it's about approaching personal growth with the same level of strategy and intentionality. that we would approach any other important goal.
Right. And it highlights specific tactics for this war, including a consistent morning routine, waking up early, exercising, and reviewing our plans for the day. Productivity hacks, working in focus blocks, eliminating distractions, and prioritizing high-impact tasks, smart energy management, scheduling tasks based on our energy levels, taking strategic breaks, and prioritizing rest and recovery, solid decision frameworks, making quick decisions for small choices, and carefully considering big decisions based on our values and goals, building the right connections, surrounding ourselves with winners, letting go of negative people, finding mentors, and giving value to others.
Wow, that's a comprehensive list. It's like a toolkit for personal transformation.
And it goes beyond just tactics. The source material also emphasizes the importance of building an arsenal of tools and resources to support our growth. This could include learning platforms like books, courses, podcasts, and tracking tools to monitor our progress and habits.
And things like productivity apps,
Yeah.
communication systems, and really any tool that can help us streamline our efforts and maximize our impact.
Exactly. It's about using technology and resources to our advantage. But it also stresses the importance of mastering these tools, not just collecting them. It's about understanding how to use them effectively to support our goals.
This is starting to sound less like self-help and more like self-leadership.
That's a great observation. And the source material actually talks about leadership qualities as a natural outcome of this personal transformation.
So things like taking initiative, guiding others, creating value, solving problems, building teams, and driving results.
Exactly. It's about stepping into our full potential, not just for ourselves, but for the positive impact we could have on the world.
It's truly inspiring to think about the ripple effect our personal growth can have on others. But the source material doesn't stop there. It also talks about cultivating specific qualities that make us more effective leaders.
Right. It highlights the importance of vision, having a clear vision for our future, setting ambitious goals, and creating detailed plans to achieve them. Integrity, being honest, trustworthy, and living in alignment with our values. Discipline, developing self-control. Consistency, and a strong work ethic. Responsibility, taking ownership of our choices and actions.
Those are powerful qualities that benefit us in every area of our lives, not just in leadership roles.
Absolutely. And what's important to remember is that this new identity, this stronger version of ourselves, isn't something we just put on. It's who we become through consistent action and effort.
It's not about faking it till we make it. It's about embodying the qualities we aspire to have. And that takes work, right? There's no magic bullet here.
The source material is very clear about that. It talks about the need for total commitment, zero excuses, complete focus, all-out dedication, absolute persistence, and unwavering belief. It's not a casual endeavor. It's a full-on commitment to personal excellence.
It sounds intense, but I also hear a lot of excitement and possibility in this message.
There is. Because ultimately, this transformation is about more than just achieving success. It's about becoming the best version of ourselves. It's about living a life of purpose, meaning, and impact.
And that's a journey worth taking, even if it's not always easy. But the question is, when do we start?
The source material offers a powerful and timely answer. We start now.
It feels like we're always waiting for the perfect time, more resources, or better conditions. But the source material is saying that's a recipe for staying stuck.
Right. It's a reminder that action creates momentum. It's in the doing that we gain clarity, build confidence, and start to see real progress.
So even if it's just one small step, one push-up, one page read, one phone call, that's enough to start chipping away at that weaker self.
That's the beauty of it. We don't need to have everything figured out to begin. In fact, the source suggests that overplanning can be a form of procrastination. It's in the action, the doing, that we start to figure things out.
It's about making the choice to show up, even when we don't feel like it, even when we're afraid.
And I think that's where faith comes in. It's about believing in our potential, even when we don't see immediate results. It's about trusting the process and having the courage to take that first step, and then the next, and the next.
This has been such an insightful deep dive. I feel like we've really unpacked this idea of the two selves, the power of making a decisive break from limiting patterns, and the importance of embracing discipline, continuous learning, and surrounding ourselves with the right people.
And most importantly, the source material leaves us with a powerful call to action, to start now, to stop waiting, to embrace the journey of becoming the best version of ourselves.
This has been an incredible conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and helping us dive deep into this material.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on Faith is the Podcast. We hope you found this deep dive valuable and are feeling inspired to take action. And remember, if you're a local business looking to grow, reach out to our amazing sponsor, Business Referred, at info@businessreferred.com. Until next time, keep the faith and keep striving for your best self.